This is Maestro. He's a Coton de Tulier. He's a pup about 5 months, and we're having trouble with him barking at other dogs.
No, hush.
She doesn't want to listen. She's very high energy. She is a blue tick hound lab mix.
So I own a pit bull. He'll be 5 in September. His name is Diesel. He's purebred. There were some behaviors that I wasn't going to be willing to live with, such as growling and barking and that sort of thing.
Her name is Sandy, and she's a lab mix. She actually found us a little over a year ago. She had some anxiety, a little bit of anxiety at first.
I have this is at least a part pit bull. He is about almost 10 months old. He's a bigger breed, and so we knew that he would probably need some training.
Dogs are often called man's best friend. However, dogs with bad habits can run their owners up a wall, leading many owners to seek help from professionals. But dog training can be expensive, and where do you even start? Talvard Jackson IV, known as Tally, a former employee of PetSmart, recently made the decision to start his own training business, Canine Legend.
We train anywhere from obedience to service dogs, different type of working dogs, scent discrimination. Tyson here, he is 3 years old. I got him when he was about 6 months old. I started with him at a young age. I taught him at a young age how to do his basic obedience. Then I do a little bit of nose work with him every now and then. Again, he is a service dog also, so he can go into different places like the mall, restaurants, movie theaters. Puppies, younger dogs, I use positive reinforcement, a lot of treats, a lot of motivating the dog, balls. But once the dog has learned all that stuff, I move to like pinch collars, and that's pressure training, compulsion training, some trainers call it. But I teach the dog pressure on. If you don't do what I do, pressure goes off when you do what I ask you to do. And then I move on to the remote trainer, same thing.
One of the things that he did was, of course, working in our own home environment. So we had some issues with him when the doorbell would ring, when people would come to visit us, and he would, my dogs would lunge at the door and, lunge at whoever was coming in. That's the kind of thing that's kind of hard to train off-site. So it was just, invaluable for him to be able to come to my house and work with my dogs.
Although many dog owners see the value in professional training, some think it's far too pricey.
Basically, it's a lot of people when they come for training and stuff like that, you want to go for the results, not for the price.
Just again, when people see a pit bull, they get kind of nervous, but yet he's a very sweet and relatively well-behaved young man, and but that's due to training.
It's worth every penny, and it did cost a little bit of money because I have 2 dogs, but. I can feel confident now when I go out in public and when people come to my house that, I can keep my dogs under control.
Salisbury resident Clinton Gilbert felt that the do-it-yourself method was the best way to go for training his pit bull, Diesel.
I would spend hours at a time training him, repeating the same task over and over and over. And as we all know, even with psychology, it teaches us that you reward behavior for conditional training. And so that's what I would do. If he did the right thing, I would give him a treat. And then I'll ask him to do it again, and he would get a treat. And so, you get the desired behavior, and then you reward them for carrying out the behavior.
So how do dogs learn? According to the Animal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, there are 4 ways. Operant conditioning is a popular training method that uses a combination of positive and negative reinforcement. Classical training is when you associate a sound with an action, such as a bell when it's time to eat. Social learning is when dogs learn by watching other dogs. Non-associative training stops a certain behavior by familiarizing the dog with the sound or object that makes it react.
He's acting afraid because it's a strange object. No dogs really are socialized with cameras.
Animal Control Officer Chris Hardy says it's unusual, but in some cases, dogs cannot be trained.
For example, like you have a dog that has a chemical imbalance. For example, I had this one dog, training him was awesome. He picked up basic obedience, everything off leash, but from where he had a chemical imbalance, he'd go from nice and loving, then he'd have you cornered, growling and getting ready to bite you.
A big issue in the dog training world is lack of regulation. How do clients know what they're getting into? Luckily, the clients of the trainers we talk to have nothing but good things to say about their trainers.
We were fortunate enough to be able to do research, and we'd seen him before, so I think it's something that should be at least relatively regulated so that people know what they're getting.
I think certification is always good, because you know what kind of training people have had.
Although some owners admit training can be pricey, and some dogs are more trouble than others, it's obvious to us that these people would do anything for their canine companions.
And then she came into our lives, and now we don't know how we lived without her, so she means a lot to us.
He's like my fourth child.
They're my children. They're like my children. They're my babies.
So, to train or not to train, we say train.